Hi, I'm Ian from Rome Resilient Expedition Vehicles. We make expedition trailers and expedition vehicles, 6x6 and 4x4, and that's our EXP series that's launching soon. We have expedition trailers in a bunk version and a non-bunk version. This is a bunk version. All right, so this is our safari hatch right here. So you can see over the bed, you have this same safari hatch on the actual non-bunk version as well. It gives the great feel of the bed. You have the upholstery. You have two closets in here, one on this side, one on that side. You have magnetic lights. So when you put that up, it turns the light on. Two windows, your blinds. Here you got mesh. All the cabinets are expedition locks. They have little struts on them. So what they do is they make sure they don't open. You have a latch that keeps it locked. So when you're off-road, you're not having stuff all over the place. You have a blind here for the door. More magnetic lights here. More storage here. This is a bunk version. So this is where our electronics sits. This electronics is really cool. We have a main computer that runs the whole camper. Everything is Victron. We use Victron inverter, Victron solar charger, Victron everything, but we use our own software. We don't use Victron software that we use to be able to do more with the energy needs of the camper than you normally would be able to do. This is our mini split AC. It runs on 24 volts and it will run on your standard battery bank for 10 hours. It's a 400 amp hour standard bank. And this sitting dining area is much bigger on the non-bunk version because we have bunks here. Basically that makes it a little bit deeper for the space here to be able to cook. You can have a microwave or you can have oven. You have your bridge induction, and I want to turn on the light here for the bunk. This is our bunk trim, and this bunk trim basically has two bunks, and they're what we call airline style bunks. They're very special. The kids love them because you can have an actual staircase to go up, and they enjoy it very much. My kids love it. And this is your full fridge. This fridge is full. Basically what happens is you've got the freezer and you've got the full fridge, and you've got your freezer up here. 24 volt DC fridge, very efficient, pulls about half an amp once it's cooled down. This is your bathroom area, and you have full shower. So you got a dehumidifier in the shower as well, so that takes care of all the humidity and all the steam and everything. Tanks under the bed. These tanks we don't use plastic tanks, we use stainless steel tanks with baffles. And you have two tanks, as I mentioned, outside. You have got the buffer tank and the main tank. This is your Truma diesel. We use the marine pumps. You have 3 pumps on board. One is a redundancy pump if one were to fail. You can switch the tanks right there. You can have a buffer tank or a main tank to be able to do that. This is your Truma controls in here, and you got all your electrical stuff. And in here is your sink. It's a full sink, deep sink. It's very helpful if you've got dishes that you don't want to wash when you're leaving campsite. You've got drinking water and you've got fresh water there. And the chopping board on top of it. There's a little bit of storage here on the bunk that you can use as well. There's storage down here. There's a spice rack in here where you can put your spices. There's some more storage here. We have our UV filtration and the 10 micron filter that sits behind. So your water is always filtered via the UV. You have also some space under here for some stuff, which is an empty space right here that you could use. That's a little bit of the inside here that I wanted to talk about. This trailer sits on a 700L steel chassis, and it's got an articulating hitch in the front, which is a DO45. We've got the front cap, which is designed so that there is aerodynamics, but also you can do a 90-degree turn with your truck so that you're not hitting your taillights on the sides here. So this is our front storage box where you have plenty of storage. So it's got 3 doors, one on this side, and there's a top opening here, which basically allows you to lift that up. So you can put snowboards, you can put skis, and it also opens on this side. You have a 18-gallon diesel tank, which is in here. It's part of the structure as well of the box. It allows you to carry 18 gallons of diesel, which you can, of course, plumb to be able to also use it for your truck. If you had a diesel truck, it's got 2 ports at the bottom. You have a fill port for the diesel on the driver's side here, where you can fill your diesel here. And on this side, we've got more storage. This is our storage area. And we also have your electrical panel here. You got your gauge for your air system, and you've got your ARB compressor for your air system that runs the whole suspension, and your air check. You've got 2 water tanks. One is the buffer tank, one is the main tank, 16 gallons, 63 gallons. What it allows you to do is basically have shorter trips, so 16 gallons, longer trips, 63, or you can do both. This one is your Truma Combi, which heats the water and the air. Now this particular one has a liner armor paint. Normally we don't have armor paint. This is an optional paint that you can have, which is a protective paint. It's scratch proof, so it doesn't scratch. All of our windows are aluminum, aircraft grade aluminum, dual pane glass. We don't use any acrylic or plastic. All the trims are part of the extrusion that hold the panels together. You have your 30 amp here. You have your drinking water, which is separate. These are the independent suspension arms that we got for each wheel, and each arm is capable of carrying 4,000 pounds of load. Air springs are 10,000 pound each. We do 16-inch wheels or 17-inch. This is a 17-inch wheel. We do oil hubs, so you never have to grease them and stuff. We don't use grease, we use oil. So just like your transmission, all you have to do is check your oil level through the sight glass, and that's it. And once you've filled the oil, you're okay to use it for as long as there's oil in there. We also do optional rock guards. These allow you to slide if you had got it yourself in a situation where you normally would need to go over a rock or something. Now here, this is a bunk version, so it's got 2 windows on each bunk. And on a non-bunk version, this part is closed and there's a bathroom window up there. This part here is what we call the signature cap, and this signature mold at the back, it's a 1-piece mold that we have, and the spare tire is indented into the back of the mold here. And you have your air conditioner condenser and compressor up there. You have storage in this area right here, where you can put different kinds of mole panels and put your gear, axes, whatever you would like. There's a winch at the bottom. This is winch control. You have 24-volt power and 12-volt power here, so you can either connect more solar panels or get power for any of your accessories from the back. You have a ladder that deploys like that. It stows like this, and then when you want to use it, it deploys. You can put it down. It's got an extra piece here, so if you press these 2, you can pull that out because sometimes you're high, so you want to have more room. So there's a few more steps here. So we'll fold it back in here. It goes in there. The roof is all solar, so you can have 3 panels come standard. You can have 4. That makes the whole entire roof solar, 1800 watts. You can have the Starlink accessory. We have the Starlink connections always made for you to be able to do that. This particular one has a motor rack, and this motor rack basically carries your bike, whether it's dirt bike or an adventure bike like this, that you can take with you without having to take space in your truck. This will carry it just fine. And on this side, we have our window on the bunk version, but if you didn't have a bunk version, you had a non-bunk, you have a big, what we call a safari hatch, which is a window in a window, which we will see up front once we get on this side. The door is, again, aircraft grade aluminum. It's made so strong that you actually have to toss it to be able to close it. It's not a cheap door. It's very much built with insulation, so it can maintain the temperature inside. The staircase is deployable in this manner. You just press the button to be able to use it. On this side, you have 2 pockets here. For this acts as a door handle as well, and there's a little window for you to be able to peek if you need to do that. Dual latches on the door. They allow you to basically latch the door properly, and they're metal. So You have grease hinges because this is an expedition trailer that will normally go off beaten path. Over time you might want to grease these because that's why we put them there, so that they help to keep the smooth operation of the door. Here we have an outdoor kitchen that basically folds in on both sides and just stows in there. You have hot water and cold water here. You have your induction that comes standard, and there's a door behind, there's a cable where you can use to connect to power. You have your chopping board, and you also have a little space here if you had to wash vegetables or whatever you wanted to wash in there. And there's a drain that comes out of here, and basically you put it in a bucket and are able to use the sink. There are two tubes that you connect to get hot and cold water. Basically they're pushed to connect here, and then they go in here to be able to have hot and cold water ready for you. Now if you come on this side, I'm going to close this hatch here. That's our signature Safari hatch. So that hatch has a window built in. It's designed to have a feel of a much bigger space, and if it wasn't that like good weather or it was cold, you could just open the window. That same hatch is on that side on a non-bunk version, so you have two Safari hatches. If you look at our suspension, it's a 11,000 pound spring, and we use the nitrogen charge shock. So you've got independent swing arms that have 11 inches of travel, so you can actually be able to basically go over obstacles that are quite tall. If you had a flat and you were in a position where you can't change the tire, basically take the wheel off, take the air out of that spring, and it will lift the arm, and you can run the trailer on 3 wheels without having to change the tire at that time. Just put it in your truck bed and just go. You can run the trailer on 2 wheels as long as they're on one on each side, right? So you could do that. We do have guards for our, these swing arms have grease zerks here that you use to grease. You don't need to grease them maybe once a year because they are sealed inside, so the grease stays there. If you don't go off-road too much, maybe 2 years. Our rock guards here on this side, and of course in the front. When you go up on the roof, you have full solar on this one. You have a 30,000 pound winch at the back that you can use. If you use a snatch block, you can pull both the truck and the trailer out. I do want to show you our special control panel that we have that runs the whole system. Our app runs the whole camper. So this is our app, and you have your weather, you got your temperature sensors, you got your panel for switching everything on and off. Our breaker panel, which is something that I talked about, we don't have traditional breakers. You can actually see how much power is being pulled from each circuit in your camper. Then you have an energy flow chart that tells you about how much solar is being pulled in real time, your battery status, your battery state of charge, how many volts are coming in. It's all real time, right? You can see the numbers are going up and down based on your AC consumption. This is your PV data. This is why we don't use the Victron software, because this is much more elaborated data that will help you. Now, if you were to go and see the history of your solar, how much solar you've had for the last month or so, you could go to pick whatever pattern in terms of weekly, monthly, and it will give you that data. This is a very cool thing to have. The other thing we got here is the tank float volume. Most of the times you get tank percentage, you have 10% water, but we actually give you the amount of gallons you have to be able to see how much water you actually have in the tanks. You get your vehicle data here where you'll be able to see all your data in terms of how much pressure you have to run, how much when cold pressure when you're not fully loaded. You get your GVWR, so you're making sure that you're not going over. We do a pre-check list, so before you leave camp or leave home, you're able to do all these checks, and you can add your own checks to be able to make sure you've got everything covered before you leave, so you're not forgetting anything. This is a very cool. I mean, our customers, we call them enthusiasts, because that's they love to have an adventure, and they really appreciate the checklist, because it's like you just tick off those things to be able to make sure that you're really safe and secure when you're hooking up. I want to show some of the construction of our trailer. This is our roof and floor. It's 3.4 inches thick, and this is our wall. The wall has a 1.5 millimeter aluminum on the outside to protect the outside. We don't do fiberglass. This is important because it's easy to clean. It's more sturdy than the fiberglass. This panel is so dense that it has its own structural density that you don't really need any real structure in the panel itself. These are our extrusions that you see on the outside. We've machined them. They're different kinds depending on where you are, what corner. This is an industry leading standard that we built. This extrusion basically makes sure that we are able to hold the walls together. Now the panel basically goes in here and it sits in there, and that's how the camper is built. Another panel goes here. Now there's a thermal brake. That's probably the most advanced you will see in the industry. We use polyamide. We machined the polyamide to make sure that we can have this break in between to be able to make sure that the heat from the outside or the cold doesn't travel inside. We don't use slap tape or things like that. It's actually engineered to make sure that heat doesn't travel from the outside to the inside. Same for the cold. And you can see there's a vacuum in the middle, and that allows you to have some level of expansion mechanism, but also create a vacuum, another level of thermal efficiency. That's why our mini split and our heating is so efficient, because we don't allow the heat to escape or the cold to escape from the inside of the cabin or allow the external heat to come in either. And that basically is one of the most fundamental parts of this expedition trailer. Now you get upholstery that you can choose the colors. Now this is very interesting because we wanted to make sure, you do spill water, you do spill, something happens, and I want to show it here where you can see it. So if I drop water on here, you'll see it doesn't just absorb in there, it stays there like mercury, right? And the whole goal is it's not going to wet, it's not going to stain, so you can make sure that's water. We made sure that it was water resistant material. We don't have dealerships, we are factory direct. You go to roamresilient.com and you're able to look at all the specs. There's an order button, you can order. When you order, you configure your trailer, like what upholstery you want, what appliances you want, what accessories you want, like the motor rack, or you wanted an extra panel, you wanted twice the battery bank, right? You could do all that stuff online, and once you order, you put a $15,000 deposit, and we assign you a production slot. Once you have a production slot, after that, we start manufacturing it. And after 30 days of the initial deposit, we ask you to deposit the 50% of the full invoice that you have, and then 30 to 45 days before delivery, you pay the rest of the balance. The turnaround time on these trailers, because we literally hand build them, is 3 to 4 months.